the Dreamers, the activists from Parkland, Florida, the Hong Kong Umbrella Movement. What do these movements have in common? They're led by teens who went from no name to household name by mobilizing global awareness on issues really impacting their community. These activists represent the power that young people have demonstrated throughout history as pioneers for social and political change. Now, when I was 12 years old, and if you were to tell me that I would be part of that history, I would have thought you were crazy. This dork, a social change leader? I was a little bit too preoccupied with what was coming up next on the Disney Channel, or rereading Harry Potter for the billionth time, and making faces like that at the camera because I thought it was cool. But that all changed when I was invited to an awareness-raising session about gender disparities in education in the developing world. I learned devastating statistics, such as 100 million girls around the world are denied an education. But what truly propelled me to action was a question proposed by the women who had brought us together that day. Do you want to be architects of a movement to address this injustice? It was the first time I could remember an adult treating me as an equal. It was empowering, so I said yes. And that day, my friends and I founded the very first campaign of the Youth Activism Project, a nonprofit that supports developing young leaders to take action on issues they really care about. And so we called the campaign Schoolgirls Unite, and we engaged in two primary activities. First, we engaged in philanthropy by raising money for a scholarship program we set up in Mali. We started off selling pencils, and then eventually we worked our way up to leading large-scale events such as benefit concerts. But what truly impacted me the most was policy advocacy. And every year I would march to Capitol Hill with my red Converse sneakers, and I would meet with our members of Congress to push for legislation related to girls' education. Being a part of this level of change-making before I could even vote was transformative. And I continued to volunteer with the Youth Activism Project, advising more youth-led campaigns, and eventually started a career in youth empowerment. And I discovered that what I did with Schoolgirls Unite, the agency I had, and the change that I made was really rare. And I wondered if others who had gone through the program felt similarly to me. So I did a sample survey of the 1,000 or so members that have gone through Schoolgirls Unite, and I discovered that 93% of them agreed with me that they contributed to real change through Schoolgirls Unite. And as we look at their stories, we can see some of the same phrases, such as, Schoolgirls Unite helped me find my voice, or it changed my life, or it opened up a pathway to lifelong civic engagement. And to think for so many of us, it all started with a simple invitation. But the reality is, most of the world's youth do not receive such an invitation. We have the largest youth population the world has ever seen. Over half of the world's population is under the age of 30, yet youth are consistently denied a seat at the table, at the decision-making table. And we can see that in how world leaders are treating issues that truly impact youth, such as climate change and youth unemployment. All too often, we rely on the civic leadership of young people when a tragedy makes headlines. But tragedy and injustice happens every second. For this reason, we need to make youth activism a global norm. We need to spark more youth activists globally to set them on the path for lifelong advocacy if we truly want to see this, if we truly want to change the status quo. And as the executive director of the Youth Activism Project, I am ready to do this work by sparking more youth-led campaigns. So I hope you will join me by continuing to extend the invitation to other youth who are like the 12-year-old me, brimming with unexplored potential to actually make the world a better place. Thank you.